We're live. We're live on YouTube. We are live on Periscope. We're about to be live on Anchor. And all right. Oh my gosh, I have to click so many passwords. We are recording on Anchor. Hey everybody, what's going on? Check out my glasses. If you're listening to this on Anchor, you're listening to the audio version, audio only, then you're totally you're really missing out. You're missing out on these awesome filters that I've got. Me and Winston over here, we're just buddies. We both got matching glasses. Hey Diacritical, enjoy Florida. That sounds like fun. Sounds like it's gonna be hot. You know what else is hot? Dick Swett. You know, I actually wonder if saying this person's name is gonna get me demonetized on YouTube. Because, you know, you can't say bad words on YouTube. You can't say bad words like shut up or shooter. You can't say bad words on YouTube. So maybe if I thank you for the super chat, Joe. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And so hopefully, you know, hopefully YouTube doesn't get my ads kicked off because I said Dick Swett. Anyway, so we just found out that Dick Swett, who's a former U.S. representative and ambassador to Denmark, has endorsed Joe Biden for president for 2020, and it's just like the icing on the cake in light of everything that's been happening with Joe Biden. He's been going through a bunch of different blunders, and now I'm just inclined to call him Bad Luck Biden, just because just so many things have been happening. I kind of feel bad for Biden at this point because he's made a lot of mistakes, but I don't even think a lot of them are on purpose. Like they might be, I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to look like, you know, very clueless and making the worst mistakes ever. But whatever it is, he doesn't look like he's enjoying it. He looks like, I feel bad for him. I actually really feel bad for Biden. Maybe that's what he wants us to think. Maybe he wants us to feel bad for him for being so embarrassing. Because, you know, sometimes it's like that. Let's see what all the embarrassing things about Biden are. First of all, before we get into all the embarrassing parts of Biden, let's just address who Dick Swett is. Because honestly, looking at his background, Dick Swett actually looks like a nice guy. Just based on, you know, what I've read so far and who he is, what he's done, he seems like a nice guy. Okay, Dick Swett is he went to Yale. He's a former ambassador to Denmark while he was under President Bill Clinton. He was under the Bushes. Under President Bush, Dick Swett was a state representative for New Hampshire's 2nd District from 1991 to 1995, and from 1998 to 2001 under Bush. Someone is saying maybe we should feel bad for you. You should not feel bad for me. I'm having too much fun with this. In fact, I actually feel bad for all my followers on Twitter because I've been just tweeting about Dick Swett all night, and it's like everyone's kind of gotten over it. They're just like, okay, poo, 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 fart, okay, like stupid preschooler, like we got over it. And I'm still like sitting here laughing about it, because why would you keep your name if that's your name? Like, if Dick Swett was your name, if Dick Swett was my name, I would have changed it to, like, I don't know, Dick Big, Dick Smile. I know people with that last name. Smile, Smilo, Smiley, you know? Dick Smiley. I don't know. There's so many other ways to have your name. I would call him Richard Swett, at least. Richard Swett. He can call himself Richard Swett. Why would he call himself? And there's actually a guy, what's his name? James O'Keefe was talking about this guy that he was dealing with at a school administrator's office, whose name was Richard Head. Like, imagine if that guy called himself Dick. His name would be Dickhead. So he went with the nice way of calling himself, which is Richard. Anyway, so he's married to Katrina Swett. Since 1980, they have 7 children and 7 grandchildren. You will never know what his children and grandchildren's names are. You will never know, because it is just going to be too embarrassing. I bet they've got all sorts of weird names that go with Swett. I bet you. Ping Sweat, Hand Sweat. I don't know. I'm not going to say all of it. But okay, so he's supporting Joe Biden for president. He was actually endorsed by Mitt Romney in 1992. And he was like running for some sort of office. I don't remember. A lot of people don't know that he is actually a politician. Like, I only heard of him because I'm immature and I'm always making fun of people's names, and people brought it up. But otherwise, a lot of people didn't know he existed, so they just thought it was a joke. But it's real, not a joke. He is a Mormon. He and his wife are Mormons. They're, they live a very nice, quiet life in, where do they live? In New Hampshire. Okay, so anyway, that's Dick Swett. He doesn't really have a lot of scandals that we can make fun of. Neither does Joe Biden, actually, but Joe Biden's got a lot of things to make fun of. First of all, he, in case you have been living under a rock, you saw what happened a couple days ago. He was at an Asian and Latino coalition town hall in Des Moines, and he was trying to, he was trying to be cool, get street cred with the minorities in the house. And so he says this whole thing about how, white, poor kids can be just as talented as white kids. I'm not making this up. I'll read it to you. He says, poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. And then to cover it up, he goes, wealthy kids, black kids, Asian kids. Okay. All right. We'll talk about Jeffrey Epstein after this. We'll talk about Epstein. Anyway, what else? I just feel bad for Biden, He calls himself a gaffe machine. And it's actually nice that he recognizes how cringy a lot of the things he says are. Not that makes him, interesting for president, because he does seem really out of touch. He seems like one of these people who's Donald Trump is a white nationalist and we have to fight racism and blah blah, but doesn't realize how out of touch he's being. He doesn't realize that his campaign staff wanting to recruit Stacey Abrams for running mate just because she's a black woman, he doesn't get how that's offensive, using someone as token, we should have a lot of a lot of it just seems out of touch. Like, kind of like this, the wealthy kids, white kids thing. All right. He referred to Theresa May as Margaret Thatcher by accident. What else did he do? All right. He described the massacres of El Paso and Dayton, the two shootings, the Dayton and El Paso shootings. He referred to them as a tragic events in Houston today, and also in Michigan the day before. That's really cringy. And then he corrected himself. And all right. I mean, these are just a few of the slip-ups in the past week. So, I feel bad for Joe Biden, but I'm really glad that now he's got Dick Swett in the palm of his hand. And now he can do whatever he wants. Because he got Dick Swett on his side. You know. All right. Someone is asking if I'm ever going to do a podcast about AI. Yeah, I'd love to do that. Also, I am going to bring Ford Fisher on at some point. He's going to come and talk about transhumanism, which is really great. And it's like a really interesting topic. New York Times is writing this whole article about how Joe Biden knows that he's saying the wrong thing, but he says it on purpose because he's smart and he's very clever. He's purposely saying the wrong thing because he knows that you will think that he's saying the wrong thing, but oops, he's one step ahead of you. He's 2 steps ahead of you, and he knows it, and you just got punked. All right, so the Jeffrey Epstein thing is kind of weird. A few things. First of all, everybody, it's not like a conspiracy. It is a conspiracy theory. The fact that we don't know what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. We don't know if he, it seems very likely that he did not commit his own suicide. He didn't kill himself. But it's still totally a conspiracy theory. We don't have any proof. We don't have any proof either way. So it's all a conspiracy theory until we find any proof of anything. So everything is a conspiracy theory. But people saying that the idea that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself is more of a conspiracy theory, that's just ridiculous, because this is like a political thing. Everybody in the country, on the left and the right, do not think that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. Not everybody, but a lot of people on both the right and the left. And, I can't say one or the other, but I can say that this isn't a fringy conspiracy theory thing. This is a lot of people on both the right and the left don't think that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. All right. So why would Jeffrey Epstein have not killed himself? Adam Tran is going to be on this live stream, everybody. By the way, Adam, Trahan. So go and follow him at Adam, Trahan. And wait up, because he's going to be on this live stream. It's going to be crazy. But these glasses are special for Winston Churchill. He's my buddy. And anyway, so Jeffrey Epstein had like this island, right? Like some sort of paradise island where he had like a bunch of underage girls, and it's kind of, he like invited people over, these high profile people over to his island to be there. And apparently he was one of the people who came to his island was the owner or founder of Victoria's Secret. So they were able to collaborate and get a lot of talent on his island. Talent meaning women, young women who want to be in the modeling industry, and the guys will be like, hey, you want to be, I see this all the time, by the way, like high profile men, inviting, I mean, you see it, it's actually a thing now, and I'll go into that after this, but it's a thing. Women, young women, girls, especially now, paying off your bills and everything, it's really hard. If some guy says, hey, come with me on my ship, I'm gonna have so much fun, it's gonna be a party, come with me on my ship, and you won't have to worry about anything, you won't have to worry about a job or anything, just live on my ship with a bunch of other girls, it's gonna be a party. Why wouldn't you? You're just like, okay, I'm not making any money on my own, might as well just take advantage of this and take a bunch of pictures for Instagram and becoming like an Instagram star. And so a lot of girls are doing this, especially people who want to be models. They want to get in with certain very important people going to the island. And what ends up happening is they basically groom these women to become like prostitutes, underage women, prostitutes on this island for a bunch of old men. And apparently this has been going on for a while, and not only has it been going on for a while, there were a lot of high-profile people involved. Apparently, the Clintons. Apparently, I mean, I've been seeing people post pictures of him with Donald Trump. I don't know if Donald Trump actually went to the island ever. But it seems like a lot of very high-profile people had their secrets with him because he had them on his island, and everybody who was there was complicit in his big crime. And once he was caught, he could rat everybody out. Imagine how many high-profile people wanted Jeffrey Epstein dead. He was in prison, I mean, maybe for life, right? Jeffrey Epstein, prison for life. I don't know. You know what? Jeffrey Epstein has been charged before. Jeffrey Epstein actually did get charged for sex trafficking before this. How come I didn't know this? All right, this has happened before. So these people who came on Jeffrey Epstein's island, and these people who like engaged in his, island fantasies, they knew that this guy was like a sex trafficker, and they still did, I guess. So a bunch of high-profile people want him to be dead. He's in jail, and he's on suicide watch, right? Because someone like that, and he's high profile, and they need him. They need to keep him so they can catch all the other bad guys. So while he's there, at some point they find him with bruises on his neck, and this is while he was under suicide watch. While he was under suicide watch, they find him with bruises on his neck, and you're just like, okay. It could have been someone assaulted him inside there. Maybe he tried to commit suicide. I mean, the bruises on his neck would mean that he might have tried to hang himself already, and it didn't work. So either someone assaulted him or he tried to kill himself. Well, guess how they respond? They take him off suicide watch. They take him off suicide watch after he either tries to commit suicide or someone assaults him. Okay? That's a really strange thing to do, to take a high-profile man that a lot of people are waiting for to get information from him, high-profile person with a lot of incriminating evidence, take him off suicide watch, and then, sorry, I'm not high, I promise. Just these glasses. So anyway, they take him off suicide watch, and then the day that he hanged himself, allegedly, or killed himself by suicide, the day that he was suicided, either by himself or by somebody else, his prison mate was transferred out. So basically, the day of his apparent suicide, his prison mate was transferred. So that is also really suspicious. Why would they transfer? Like, how is this all a coincidence? He's got bruises on his neck from someone assaulting him, or him, for some reason he's got bruises on his neck, which means there was some sort of struggle. They take him off suicide watch, and then the night that he was allegedly committing suicide, they transfer his prison mate. And people are like, oh, he was a sex trafficker, whatever. Why are you feeling sad for this man? It's not that I'm feeling sad. The truth is, I always feel sad for everybody. That's just me. I'm always, I'm always gonna be the devil's advocate, or whatever. What do you call it? Like, I'm always gonna feel bad. But also, in this case, this guy was a lead to so many different people. And if this was a case of foul play, we really have to know. And I think that all political sides are genuinely invested in knowing what happened. The anti-Trump people want to know if Trump was involved somehow. The anti-Clinton people want to know if the Clintons were involved somehow. And so, I don't think it's unreasonable to really, really be upset by this and want to know what happened. Like, we still don't have the results of the autopsy, which is already they already did it. So why don't we know? What are they waiting for? It awaits further information. We still don't know what's going on. So, and if someone managed, someone really high profile, either our system is so screwed up, where our justice system, where the prison guards were that negligent of keeping this guy alive, or our leaders are so screwed up. Our politicians and high-profile people in this country are so corrupted. So maybe the first one is true. Maybe our law and our prison guards are just so ineffective. Okay, so by the way, the Instagram influencer thing is real. My friend is telling me about it. A lot of women nowadays will not have jobs, and they'll just go and become the side candy for rich guys, and they will literally just be on their yachts and take pictures and whatever. And it's actually a great way to get through college and make an income or whatever. I mean, not necessarily make an income right away, but building up your it's really like a social media thing. You build up your social media Instagram with pictures and all that stuff until you're ready for your own job or something. I don't know. It happens a lot, but it's crazy that Epstein and co. took advantage of that. Okay, so speaking of women's jobs, I was just reading this crazy story and watching this crazy video about this woman, a Lebanese 26-year-old porn star, that someone just asked me if I wish I was prettier. I think about this all the time, and I just never know. Sometimes I'm like, oh, like, I really, 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 really wish I had a totally different face, and I'm just like, I'm the ugliest person ever. And then other times I'm just like, whatever, I don't wish I looked different, because then everybody else is boring and everybody else's face is boring. So I don't wish I had anybody else's face. But anyways, depends on the day. But most of the time it's good. Most of the time I'm just like, yeah, I don't want anybody else's face. But anyways, this woman, Mia Khalifa, she says that she got, in all her time as a porn star, she got paid $12,000. So not only did she have an awful time, okay, 1 second, I'm reading the comments. Not only did she have an awful time in the porn industry, because who has a great time? Honestly, who has a good time in the porn industry? Like, that's not even a secret. But the sex industry is really, like, no matter how much money you make, and people actually are, like, always like, oh, like, she's such a hoe, she's working in the sex industry. People don't realize how gangster some of these women are. When I say gangster, I don't mean they're actual gangsters, although some of them actually are. But when I say gangster, I mean, like, these women are real hustlers. They work hard for their money. They actually work really hard. Would you, and they make good money. I mean, this lady making $12,000 her entire time as a porn star, that's insane. That's like, I mean, you'd have to pay me like millions and billions and whatever, and I still don't, you know, like, most women you'd have to pay like an insane amount, and they still might be like, I don't know if I want to do it. But like $12,000. And the reason why people don't want to be porn stars, it's not because, like, oh, we have so much dignity, and I don't want to be immoral and be in a porn magazine and do immoral things. Like, literally nobody who says that actually cares about that. Maybe like a few people. The real reason why people don't want to be in the porn industry or the sex industry is because it's hard. It's really hard. It's like, not only do you get treated like shit from all your family members and everybody around you, you're just total hoe slut, called the worst things ever. You're treated like shit by the people in the industry. They abuse you, they exploit you, they just, especially if you're a young, beautiful girl, if you're young especially, you're taken advantage of a lot because, you know, and then on top of that, like, you know, sex can be like a very intimate thing that, like, it can ruin people if someone is using your body in like the most intimate way while abusing you in any way, like verbally. You know, it doesn't have to be physical abuse, it doesn't have to be like assault, it can be verbally, but like at the same time as you being in such a vulnerable place emotionally and physically, that could cause a lot of trauma in young women. And so, like, the people who are willing to do that, I mean, the women who are willing to do that's actually really hard work. And that, they're entitled to a lot of money. They're entitled to get their money's worth. I mean, sorry, they're entitled to get their hard work's worth. And, you know, like, a lot of these women, they're not drug addicts, they're not trying to feed like a drug addiction, they're not just like, you know, hoes in their real lives. They're women who like need to pay for their families, their children. They're like single moms. They're, you know, women who are paying for sending money back home to their families in Russia or Ukraine or whatever. I mean, I know people like that who really are just, they need a lot of money. They need a lot of money now. And I'm not just talking about the porn industry. I'm talking about, like, you know, all types of people in the sex industry, and, you know, from being a stripper to being on camera, like webcam, or, you know, things like that. You know, like people who are making money for it. I personally have not met people who are like, other than like legitimately, I personally have not met a lot of people who go into like the sex industry with the intention of like, ooh, well, you know, I'm a hoe and I just want everyone to look at my boobs and see how hot I am and whatever. Like, usually people who go into that industry have like another reason, you know. And a lot of very hard workers and very genuine women who in fact are a lot more emotionally stronger than other women, because they're willing to put themselves in the position of ultimate shame and degradation from people around them in order to accomplish a single goal. No, the goal is not whoring around. If they wanted to whore around, they would do it off camera. They would do it in some other setting where they can do whatever they want. They wouldn't do it for work. This is work. And so, like, this is a form of making money. And so, anyways, I just think that you know, just because someone is in the sex industry, as a definition, is there to make money, it doesn't mean that they are in any way worse or less moral than people who aren't working in the sex industry, honestly. Like, I actually don't think that it makes you less moral. Just because the name is there, it doesn't necessarily make you a less moral person. There's so many people who are doing the same thing, but they're not doing it for work or for money or for any sort of goal. They're just, you know, having fun. So just because you're not just because you're not dancing for fun and you're only dancing for money, or you're not having sex for fun, you're only having sex for money, just because that's the case with you, you're a bad person. I mean, you might even be a better person because you're working hard. You're working hard in order to pay for your family or for someone's family or whatever. You're paying for some sort of cause. I mean, there are a lot of women who pay there are a lot of women who will make money at night and then invest the next day or whatever. Okay, so why did I get off on that tangent? Oh yeah, this Mia Khalifa. I feel weird saying lady because she's my age, but she's 26. But yeah, $12,000, insanely low. I guess if you're like from the Middle East or something, and they're just like, oh, we'll give you $12,000, and you're just like, ooh, that's a lot of money and whatever. And it's very easy to take advantage of girls from foreign countries. It's really sad though, because she's explaining in her video, and like, go and check out her page, Mia Khalifa, Khalifa. It's like almost, it's really hard for people in that industry to like become acquainted with the real world, get over their traumas, and not necessarily trauma, but like the whole experience of being able to integrate as part of the real world can be traumatic. So she talks about that, and there are a lot more women like her. Go check it out. And okay, and the final thing. Oh, actually, this is not the final thing, but so I think Miley Cyrus is really trying very hard to get attention. And that's because she came out for like the millionth time, and she put on her Instagram page, coming out, whatever. This person is working so hard to get attention. Miley Cyrus, the actress / singer, broke up with her husband, or getting a divorce from her husband, Liam Hemsworth. Really hot guy in Hollywood. I don't know, if you're a guy you might disagree with me, but he's like at the top of the list for many women, and he's used oftentimes in he's used in movies to be like the hot guy in the movie. So he and Miley Cyrus break up, and Miley basically leaves him, and there are pictures of him being all sad and bars and whatever, and Miley leaves him for this woman, Caitlyn Carter, who's like their friends, who also got a divorce with her husband. So basically these two couples who are like best friends, they both get divorced from their significant others, from their partners. And then the two women go on vacation to like Italy or something, and they're just like, there are pictures all over them making out and stuff. So it sounds like, oh yeah, like Miley left her husband for a girl, but I honestly think it's just like an act. I think she's just trying to get attention, because she's done this so many times where she's just like, I'm not heterosexual, I'm pansexual, I'm like really into women, and the thing is about, and like, I don't want to stereotype, but most women that I know, like, who are into other women, are not as like PDA as men are. Like, gay men are very like PDA. They are like loud and proud about their gayness. Lesbian women are usually a lot more subtle, and they're more private. From my experience, lesbian women tend to be more private about their sexuality, which, this is total stereotype, but also I think in a lot of cases when women are making out with other women in public and are doing it for the photo ops, usually they're not actually lesbians. Usually they're just making out with other women. All women, like, women make out with other women all the time. Like, straight women make out with other women all the time. I'm like not gonna make out with another woman in private. The only reason, am I? No. The only reason women usually make out with other women, like straight women make out with other women, is because it's fun, because it's like in public. Miley Cyrus making out with her friend on like by a pool, like in public with a ton of people around, and like they're making out like all over each other. I can't believe that's anything other than a PR stunt. And then she's like taking all these pictures of herself, like wearing a cap and looking all manly, and like with these shorts to look all masculine and stuff like that. It really just seems like a game to me. It seems like a PR stunt, because most lesbian women are not like that. You could say it's like, oh, maybe they're just not as proud, but they should be, because they're, men and women should be proud of who they are. So whatever, but whatever it is, she does not seem like a real lesbian. She really, really looks like someone who's trying to get attention and be called a lesbian. All right. Questions. Oliver says all the promotion of not having kids and pansexualism and all this is just resulting in a backlash. There is a limit to reducing the birth rate. You know, if you just open up the borders and let everybody in the world live in America and reproduce, then you've got the birth rate problem sorted out. Just let the okay, I'm not going to continue on that topic. I'm being sarcastic, but I'm not going to continue on that topic. Ira's asking if I've ever been called a lesbian. I've been called a lesbian so many times. It is crazy. So many people think I'm a lesbian. I promise you, I am not a lesbian. Like, I really mean that. I don't know how else to say it, guys. Or girls, I mean. Like, I don't know, like, all women, I think, are sexually fluid in some way. And when I say sexually fluid, I don't mean, like, pansexual and asexual and whatever. Like, I mean, I don't mean, like, labels. I literally just mean, like, women tend to be more sexually fluid. So it's more normal for me to go and make out with another woman or touch another woman or whatever than it is usually for men to do it. Although, I don't know, I'm sure you could do it if you're a guy and maybe it's like a social pressure not to, but I think it's a lot more normal for women to do it to other women. And it doesn't mean necessarily that we're not straight women. It just means that women are more sexually fluid because yeah. Joe Anderson says, who do you think is hotter, Chris or Liam? I don't know. Liam. Actually, I don't know. Maybe Chris. The truth is, like, I'm not even so into their looks. The only reason I say they're, like, the hottest people in Hollywood is because they're, like, the most popular. Like, they're the ones that all girls think are hot. And it's, like, so they're, like, top, you know, up there as, like, you know, the hottest. But not necessarily that, like, personally I think they're the hottest. Because I just think they're just, like, meh. Meow, meow, meow. Jesus says, what if Chris and Liam kiss themselves? That would actually be like the perfect situation. Like the perfect photo of Chris and Liam making out. If Chris and Liam Hemsworth made out together, that would be like the end all be all. Be perfect. By the way, like, the whole Chris Cuomo thing, it's still blowing up and it's still, like, trending on Twitter. Chris Cuomo, like, bumps into a Trump supporter who calls him Fredo from The Godfather. And then Chris Cuomo, like, freaks out and says, you know, how dare you call me Fredo? That's, like, that's, for Italian people, Fredo is, like, the N-word for Italians, and that's so offensive and whatever. And so now it's like becoming this whole thing on Twitter, you know, Chris Cuomo he's flipping out on some guy. And yeah, like, I don't feel bad for him just because, like, I feel like he's just so dumb on his show that, like, sometimes like these kind of situations make you stronger and more intuitive in, like, a weird sense. So maybe he needed that. But also, it's not fair to say that he shouldn't have defended himself. Like, if it were you, you wouldn't have lashed out at that guy. like, people are so annoying. They'll come up to him and be like, you know, why did you say that this and this? Like, I don't know. Celebrities are human beings, and they're allowed to lash out at people however much they want. They're humans. They're like, just because they're so big in your eyes, like, just because Chris Cuomo has, like, I don't know, like 2 million followers or something, it doesn't mean that he doesn't see, it doesn't mean that he won't for sure see your comment or notice you saying something shitty about him and then feel bad about himself, you know? Just because there's so many people there, it doesn't mean that he won't notice the negative things and then feel bad. Like, in your life, you see all kinds of feedback being given to you. Like, you get, like, all sorts of feedback from people, but you're always going to focus on the most negative one, even if you're getting a lot. I'm getting some funny comments in here. Iris says, I agree, but you put yourself out there, people have the right to respond. Some prefer to keep a low profile. That's true. I mean, if you choose a public life, you gotta brace yourself for it. But a lot of people don't. I don't know. I guess it's true. If you choose a public life, people get what they ask for. People get what they ask for. I think for me the rule is, like, you really get what you ask for. Whatever you put out there, it comes back to you. If you want to be, if you don't want everybody to analyze every part of your life, then you shouldn't put personal details out there. If you don't want people to start attacking you politically, then you shouldn't become a political figurehead. And that's honestly what my problem was for years. I did not want to be attacked politically for defending people that I don't care. Like, I feel like I'm constantly being sucked into this, you know, political machine where, like, you know, I'm affiliated with this group or this person or that person, and now I have to defend this person's ideas or views. And it's like, honestly, I don't care. I don't care about any of these. Like, no matter how strongly I might feel about something, I don't care about any of these political groups, and I don't want to have anything to do with them because I don't want to be defending them, and I don't want to be a target on their list. And one thing that I learned throughout this process is that if you don't want to, you don't have to. You're not going to get, if you do your due diligence and pull yourself out of it, don't be attacking people. Don't be attacking other political groups. And people won't attack you. If you don't go attacking other people, people won't come attacking you. And if they do, it's just like they just seem like a loser because they're fighting against no one. They're fighting against someone who isn't even fighting back. People won't come after you if you're not going after anyone because you're not a target. Generally speaking. And yeah. Generally, whatever you put out there, people. And then, like, also, if you don't want people to make fun of you, then don't make fun of other people. That's why I like to make fun of other people, because I'm totally fine with people making fun of me. In fact, I like it. I like it when people make fun of me because it gives me, like, it makes me feel cool. Like, haha, like a clown. And so that's why I like to make fun of other people. Yeah. But I don't want to be on anybody's hit list. I honestly don't care about the world enough. Because, like, you know, you got these people who are like, but you have to save the world. But you have to fight for this country. But don't you care about the children? What are you going to do if you're not going to be serious and you're not going to fight for these? And it's like, No, I don't care about the children. I don't care about the world. I don't care about the country. I don't care about anybody. I just care about having fun. And so I'm not going to sit here and be like, we have to do our due diligence and vote for this law and that law. And, I'm not going to do that because I actually really don't care. Go vote for whatever law you want to vote for. And I also don't hate anybody. I don't hate anybody in politics. I don't even hate, the worst person on earth. I don't hate anybody. I will be very, 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 very annoyed at some people. But at the end of the day, it's not worth, because hate, when you hate somebody, it's a totally internal feeling. Hate is just another word for burning feeling on the inside. So when you choose to hate somebody, their life is not affected, not even a tiny bit. Your life is affected because your insides are burning and they're bubbling inside and they're hurting you, and you're basically gonna probably get cancer because you're just so unhealthy because you got burning stuff inside your brain. And that person is not getting affected at all. That's what happens when you hate somebody. So you might as well not hate people. That's one thing. But say you still hate someone, because that's not really a reason to not hate someone. That's just hating is bad because you hurt yourself and not the other person. Okay, so just from a standpoint of why you shouldn't hate anybody. Well, everyone is really human. And that sounds very cliche, but imagine if you grew up in the same exact situation, same exact body, same exact parents, family, exact circumstances. Wouldn't you also have done the same exact thing as that person? If you grew up with the same brain, the same mind, the same consciousness, the same situation, circumstances, the same body and parents, wouldn't you be the exact same person that they are? That's the way the world is. I mean, things are moving the way they're supposed to. So why not accept life and situations and people the way that they are? Just accept it. And you feel so much better. And guess what? When you work on yourself, and when you work on your own peace of mind and feel good about yourself and do whatever you can to love yourself and feel good about yourself, guess what? You're 100 steps ahead of that person that you hated. Because now in your heart, instead of hate, you have love. And so you're natural selection is going to pick you before that person. So, you still win. Anyway, the only reason that came up was because of Chris Cuomo. Thank you, Chris Cuomo, for making this live stream so interesting. Oliver says, that is girl advice. Loving yourself is gay for a man. No, it's not. You can't when I say love yourself, it means know who you are, accept who you are, accept who everybody is, and appreciate who you are. That's not gay. That's confidence. That's this is who I am, and I'm proud of it. And in a lot of cases, if you got parents who didn't give you the love that you wanted, or how much you needed, maybe you feel like you needed a little bit more, it's really up to you to fill that void for yourself. Otherwise, you're not going to get it from anyone else. No one is going to love you the way that you need to be loved. Not even your spouse, not even your, like, no one. No one's gonna love you the way you can love yourself. Nate says that I need to do shrooms. This is exactly the kind of conversation you have during that trip. I was very recently, and I won't say exactly when, but I was on a really long trip. It lasted like 2 days. And it was like the most uplifting experience ever. And I really do think that there should be a shroom stream. I've actually, yeah. There's at some point there's gonna be a shroom stream, but it would have to be like with someone who can take over in case things get too weird. Because the thing is, like, it's only fun if everybody else is also doing shrooms. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm doing shrooms, oh my god. If I'm doing shrooms and no one else is doing shrooms, then you're like watching me act crazy. Like, I'm only seeing the cool stuff, but you're not. You're just seeing someone, like, become mentally retarded. That's all you're seeing. So it's just like you just be seeing me here, like, acting whatever, semi-mentally retarded, and then suddenly I go full-on mentally retarded, and that's like the entire live stream. It just kind of sounds lame. Not gonna lie. But if you really want to see it, we can do it. We can make it happen. Although, wait, aren't shrooms still illegal? Yeah, I think shrooms are still illegal. Never mind. Never mind. Shrooms are illegal still, so we're not gonna do shrooms on this podcast. What are shrooms even? And where would I get shrooms even from? What? And I'm not gonna do cocaine, because what's that? Also, no, I really don't want to do coke. Just because, like, I wouldn't be good on cocaine. I actually wouldn't. Anyway. We're going to say goodbye to our anchor people because we're hitting the hour mark. Goodbye to the anchor people. See you tomorrow night. And, you know, actually, I've been having some weird stuff with Anchor. So not all the episodes on Anchor are actually being downloaded. Like, you know, it's the audio podcasts that streams to, like, a bunch of different podcasting platforms. And it streams to Spotify and Stitcher and, you know, Apple, Google, all this stuff. But anyway, not all the episodes make it to the podcast. So if you want a consistent place where you can download the audio for this live stream, Joe Anderson, and I'm gonna retweet it tonight. Joe Anderson is the person who downloads it, who downloads these live streams, the audio version, onto a website. You can go on there, download it. It's free. And that's that's always gonna be there. So definitely take advantage of that. Jesus, I was definitely talking about mushroom soup. That's exactly what I was talking about. And in case you're wondering, Anchor is a platform. It's like an app where I've been recording audio on this app. So it's for people who want to listen to only audio. For some reason, they don't want to see this. They don't want to see all of this. And they don't want to see Churchill looking all beautiful and cool there. Look at him. He's like so nice and patient. They just want to hear audio on their way to work. So that's why we have Anchor, and it sends the audio from this, it sends it to Streamer and Google, Spotify, and all these things that I don't remember the names of. Breaker. Okay. See you tomorrow, everybody. The best people on the planet Earth. So nice. And I'll see you all tomorrow night if you want to help me. And, you know, you can support my channel. I'm actually not really active on Patreon, so don't go on Patreon yet. Don't. Just wait just wait a little bit. But anyway, see you tomorrow night. Be there or be square. It's not always gonna be at 9 p.m. It's most of the time gonna be later than 9 p.m., like maybe 10 p.m. or sometimes 10:30. I'm always late, so just know that. Okay, bye!